It was an all Waltrip weekend at Darlington, South Carolina. Michael Waltrip won his first Busch Grand National race in a couple of years when he drove his Pennzoil Pontiac past Dale Jarrett with just 4 laps to go. Todd Bodine finished in 3rd place and took over the point lead in the series. Joe Nemechek, who was leading going into that race, finished far back in the field. Well, then on Sunday in the Mountain Dew 500, DarWal Waltrip was at the right place at the right time. He had lurked in the top 10 back there, not too far behind the leaders, but had not battled for the lead. But with about 70 laps to go, the leaders pitted. Darrell stayed out there, had enough gas to go until the rain started coming in, and he was there in the lead when NASCAR finally had to call the race after about 2 hours waiting. It was going to get dark before they could finish it, so they called it off, and Darrell was right there to win his first ever Southern 500. Mark Martin came home in 2nd place. 2 years ago, Darrell started the DarWal company here to field his own race cars, and he said at the time that his ultimate goal was to have his own engine department. Well, that is coming about now, and Randy Pemberton was taken through their new engine department by Bobby Waltrip.
Bobby, we've been over to your shop a lot of times now. You used to have race cars over here. This was fabrication before. Explain a little bit about what you're doing in here.
Well, basically what we've done here is we've relocated our fabrication shop into a new building out back, and this is now our engine machine shop. And the design and layout has kind of been something that we've played with over the last couple of days. We've moved this stuff around 5 or 6 different times, and now Lou LaRosa and his boys have got everything laid out to where they think it's going to be functional, and also it looks fairly nice too. This particular room right here will be where Lou works out of. We tried to, as I said about the machine shop, we tried to think of everything. I know before we're done there's going to be some things we didn't think of, but this is the first engine assembly room. Lou LaRosa will work out of here. The second room over here is where Billy Moose will work out of. And they're fitting the countertops on the stainless steel countertops in here now.
As we speak.
As we speak. And hopefully by the end of this week, we'll be functional totally in this part of the building.
Now, your dyno area is pretty much sort of set up. Let's go take a look at that.
Yeah, hey, you'll love this.
Okay. Wow.
And what we've got is one room here now that is completed and a second room that is under construction. The general layout right here, we got from the 2-car, the 12-car, different ideas. We've got one central control panel area, one control room for both dynamometers. We've got a Heenan-Freud dynamometer in the first cell that's kind of unique in as much we can test tailpipes either out the right and left, both out the left, both out the right, any length headers, crossover point anywhere we would like to have it. So it's actually trying to simulate as much of the actual race conditions as we possibly can here in the room.
All this dynamometer stuff, this is becoming, I mean, you're constantly challenging yourself with figuring out what type of dynos and what type of information to derive. How did you guys derive on exactly what you want? I mean, there's probably lots of different kinds out there, or lots of different programs to utilize. How did you know you're doing the right thing? Just by using the other teams? Or?
Well, based on what we really didn't pull so much from what the other people would do, we pulled from what they wouldn't do again. And that left us with an option or two that a couple of teams have done. We don't feel like we know for a fact that this is based on what all of the other teams would do again. If they had to do it again, this is the way they would do it. And that's given us a great advantage in the fact that we've taken a couple of years to come up with this plan, and this is the end result of it.
Pitfalls so far with putting all this together?
I'd just soon not discuss that. Daryl's going to be watching, and he hadn't been here for all this, so no problem so far, boss. And what this shop right here will be is the fabrication shop we had to move from up front to make room for our engine machine shop gets located into this building. Unique features of this building, if there are any, is we have an above-ground lift supplied to us by Rotary Lift, which is the people that supply all the lifts to Western Auto. We've got one inside here, and what that'll be used for is to raise a car up, to build tailpipes, headers, ductwork, and that type thing without having to lay on a creeper and crawl under the car. So basically what we have is another little shop here all to itself. That way the engine guys can have their deal up front. The actual race car construction and assembly people, Jake and his guys, will have a place back here, and we'll be together, but we will be separate and be able to function without each other.
Well, they'll start cranking engines out of that shop by late fall, and will actually do some testing this year with their engines, but they're under contract to Hendrick Motorsports, where they've been getting their engines for the last couple of years to do all of the races for the remainder of the 1992 season.